Ukraine is more than you think. From the first democratic constitution to the world's largest airplane, here are 5 astonishing facts that will change your perception of this country. Fact 1. In 1710, Ukrainian hetman Pilip Orlik created the Constitution of Rights and Freedoms of the Zaporizhian Army, a document that established the principles of a democratic society's government. It was written 77 years before the U.S. Constitution and 80 years before the French Revolution. This document introduced the separation of powers into legislative, executive, and judicial branches, the foundation of modern democracy. It also protected the rights of Cossacks and peasants, limited the hetman's power, and aimed to fight corruption. Unfortunately, Orlik was unable to implement his constitution in practice, as Ukraine was already under the control of the Russian Empire. However, the very existence of this document proves that the ideas of freedom and independence have been ingrained in the Ukrainian people for centuries. Fact 2. Kyiv is one of the oldest cities in Europe, founded in the year 482. It was the capital of Kievan Rus, a powerful state that existed long before Moscow was even founded. In the 9th to 10th centuries, Kiev was a major political and cultural center. It was home to grand cathedrals, flourishing trade, and the development of literacy and arts. Christianity spread from Kyiv to all of Eastern Europe. At a time when Kyiv was a thriving metropolis, Moscow didn't even exist. It was founded only in 1147, nearly 700 years after Kyiv. This fact highlights Ukraine's role as the historical center of Eastern Slavic civilization, with Kyiv as the true mother of Rus cities. Fact 3. On April 26, 1986, a disaster occurred that changed the world forever. The 4th reactor of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant exploded during a technical experiment, releasing an enormous amount of radiation into the atmosphere. The Soviet government initially tried to cover up the scale of the tragedy, and only days later did they begin evacuating the residents of Pripyat, a city just 3 kilometers from the plant. The radioactive cloud spread not only across Ukraine, but also over Europe. Hundreds of thousands of people were forced to leave their homes, and the Chernobyl exclusion zone remains one of the most dangerous places in the world. However, today, it also stands as a symbol of resilience and recovery. Ukrainian scientists, liquidators, and environmental experts continue working to mitigate the consequences of the disaster and make the world a safer place. Fact 4. In 1932 to 1933, the Soviet government deliberately created a famine in Ukraine. Stalin's repressive policies forced Ukrainian farmers to surrender all their grain to the state, leaving them with nothing to eat. This was not just an economic crisis. It was a planned act of genocide. The Soviet regime sealed off villages, preventing people from leaving in search of food. Historians estimate that between 4 to 7 million Ukrainians perished during the famine. The Holodomor was designed to erase Ukrainian national identity and crush resistance to Soviet rule. Yet, despite this tragedy, Ukrainians preserved their culture, language, and spirit of independence. Today, many countries recognize the Holodomor as an act of genocide, and the fight for historical justice continues. Fact 5. The An-225 Maria was a one-of-a-kind Ukrainian aircraft built in the 1980s to transport the Soviet space shuttle Buran. It was the largest and most powerful cargo plane in the world, capable of carrying over 250 tons. Maria set dozens of world records, transporting massive cargo worldwide. It was a symbol of Ukrainian engineering excellence and national pride. Unfortunately, in 2022, during Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the aircraft was destroyed at the Hostomel airfield. But Ukraine does not give up. Plans are already in place to rebuild Maria and construct a new aircraft. This will serve as a symbol of resilience and the indomitable spirit of the Ukrainian people. Ukraine is a country that doesn't just make history, it changes the world. From the world's oldest democratic constitution to the largest airplane ever built, Ukrainians have always been ahead of their time. If these facts amazed you, subscribe, hit the like button, and discover more about the incredible history of Ukraine.